I think it's just the one that got away, because if I am not mistaken, some of the reports that we got from some of the reserves nearby was that the lions actually fought with some other unknown lions that we get into this area, because you see our reserve in the area where we are, it's got no fences with the national park, with Kruger National Park. So every now and again you get strangers and animals that are not generally born in this area that come along and then just cause a bit of chaos, start moving around. But that's what makes it so interesting, because it's a proper natural environment and we get to see everything that happens. And it's almost like watching a soap opera sometimes, because you obviously, because we see them all the time, you get to, or well, maybe not all the time, but it's almost like a soap opera. Alexandra, your name's just like have manes. Well, there are a couple of theories about it. One of the theories is that they have manes because when male lions fight and they hurt each other, and imagine those big claws, you know, just grabbing your hair, and the mane protects their face, their ears, their throat, their nose, everything from any potential blow from an opponent. But also, I fell in a hole. But also it's believed that they have manes so that they can differentiate each other from a distance. So if a female sees a lion all the way far away, she will know it's a male instead of a female. This way. Sorry, Senzo was just directing me because he was here today. This side. Okay. Let's see. Hopefully it'll be some... I see the 2-track now. Alright. I'm going to pay a little bit of attention now to the road to try and get, I think it would have maybe been easier to go in that side, but that's fine because good old Rusty will get us there if it doesn't fall too badly in this hole. Hello, big boy. Now, how are we going to play this around? Which way, Senzo? Should we go straight and then... Yeah. Okay, sorry guys, I'm just talking to Zenza to try and find out how we're gonna park. That's gonna make it easier for everyone to have a look at this beautiful male lion that's right next to us. I think it's probably the way. Hopefully this won't give us a flat tire. Is that good, or do I need to go a little bit backwards for you? A little bit back? Okay, sorry guys, we're gonna have a look in just a few moments. Just want to make sure that we get the best possible view for the camera, because obviously we all really want to see this male lion. There he is. Almost. Hello, boy. How amazing is that? Now, this is a real king of the jungle, as they say, although we are not in the jungle. Very beautiful. And you see, we are actually quite close, going back to Mrs. Violet's question from earlier on. We are pretty close to the lion, but you see he's carried on doing whatever it is that he was doing before we got here. And that is exactly what we want all animals to do when we come and view them. We want them to carry on and pretty much ignore us as much as possible, because we are just observers. We just want to see what they do, find out what they get up to, learn everything we can about them without ever bothering them. I think somebody's going through a bit of grooming and maybe an injury on his paw over there. Seems like he was in a fight actually. It doesn't seem like anything too bad, but it seems like somebody bit him on one of his back legs. Now he's being a very thorough boy and just cleaning himself. So if you've got cats at home, I'm sure you've seen your cat do exactly this, what he's doing. So he's just getting rid of all the little pieces of dirt, grass, pretty much anything that can go onto his fur, get under his coat, because they are very clean animals. So they always like to be very nice and hygienic. Even when they... after they've eaten a lot and you can see all their faces are bloody and full of all sorts of disgusting things, then when they're done eating, they take a bath and they take much care of making sure that they are squeaky clean. So beautiful. I think one of my other friends from the Masai Mara is also out and about, and he has also managed to find one of my favorite birds out in the Masai Mara. So we are going to stick around with this boy while he has a bath and makes sure that he's sparkling clean. But while we stay with him, let's go over to Brent and see a very interesting looking turkey. Well, we have managed to find a new spot, but I apologize because I need to get a hold of somebody on the radio that wants to come and also see the big male lion. Ralph, sorry, I was busy on the radio. You are more than welcome to make your way. There's only myself here. Like Chris was saying, best access is via Hyena Road, and then you'll see the branch on the road. Hey, firm, come Hyena Road. Copy. Alright, sorry guys, when we go out on drives for security reasons and also just because we help each other out, we have a radio with us. So when we find something that's very big or very interesting to watch, then we have to call it in on the radio because there might be somebody else that also wants to come. So I was doing my duty and just making sure that everybody else knew that we are here with this lion. Although luckily for us, not too many people want to come around because it seems like there are more lions in other places, so it means that yay for us, we get to spend a little bit more time with him. Now still busy grooming itself. Virginia, you're wondering why do lions bathe themselves with their tongues? Well, they don't really like the water. And also here the water in Africa is very dangerous. There are hippos, there are crocodiles, all sorts of things that might want to hurt a lion. So like the domestic cats that also don't like taking a bath, they have learned that the best way to get clean is just use their tongue. And their tongue, if you have a pet at home, their tongue is very, very rough. So it's not nice and smooth like ours, but it's actually got tiny little, what can I call them? Tiny little particles that almost act like a cum. So whenever he's licking his skin, he's getting all the dirt out and all the extra hair and so on. And of course, because all of his saliva is there, then all of the water or the watery side of his saliva then makes everything dislodge a little bit easier and get out of his skin. So you see he's doing a very good job at it. And you see there's the wound that he's got. You see that hole there? So judging by the shape of the wound, I'm pretty sure that what happened there was that another lion bit him, because it looks like a canine, one of those very big teeth that went straight in, probably got bitten in the back. But it's not bad. Lions often get all sorts of injuries, and you see he is now busy cleaning itself, making sure that nothing strange, no maggots, nothing goes in there, just to make sure that it heals a lot quicker. But like I was saying, reports are that apparently this lion fought with another one. CHOPT Elementary, you guys are wondering how long do lions live for? Well, it depends if you're a boy or a girl. So the male lions, the boy lions like this one with very big manes, because they have to fight and protect their territories and their females and their cubs from any other lions that might be in the area, they tend to live a little bit less than the females. So a male lion, a boy lion, can live for about 10 to 12 years, whereas a female that lives in a family with all the other aunts and sisters and etc., they can live for maybe about 15 years. So it changes obviously from one area to the other, but roughly that I would say that's a good average for them. Definitely making sure that there's nothing funny in that wound. You see, living down here on the ground and sleeping on the soil gets all sorts of little things in all those wounds, so he's got to be very careful to make it very clean. Almost looks like a big cat, doesn't he? With all that pretty mane and all that black hair that he's got there. But I'm sure it's not as soft as it would as it appears. I'm sure it's full of knots. Now if you look at his face, you can tell. Look at all those scars on his nose. So they have a very tough life. They constantly fight with one another, and even when they manage to hunt something and they're all eating something big like a buffalo or perhaps a big antelope, they all fight and they all growl at each other and they all hurt, because even when they eat, even if it's the same family, they all try to get more food. So imagine if you're like at a big Thanksgiving dinner and everyone's fighting to get the bigger piece of the turkey. That's roughly what it is when the lions are eating all the time. They just fight because they're actually all really fatties and they all just want to eat as much as they can and they have to survive. So some of the wounds they get from fighting with family members, some of the wounds they get them from fighting with females, and some of the wounds they get when hunting. beautiful. Right, Chopt Elementary, it has been a pleasure having you guys with us on Drive this afternoon. Very happy we managed to see some lions and elephants and of course the ground hornbills, which is very, very cool for the afternoon. And we hope to see you again next time. But we hope that you enjoyed. Welcome everyone to the non-school drive part of the drive, for lack of a better word. And we are here with, I think it's Tinyo, if I'm not mistaken. He was seen here this morning, and this is where Tristan left him off, and doesn't seem like he's moved too far, thankfully, for all of us, because the boundary is actually not too far away from where we are, so we are very happy that he is here. Because since I've arrived at Djuma, we've heard them roaring every night, so many times, just before drive starts, and by the time that you jump in the vehicle and start getting out, they have gone up somewhere else. Now, he does have a bit of a wound on his back leg, but like I was saying earlier, I don't think it's anything too dramatic. I'm sure he'll be fine. And I was reading the update from, I think it was in Kruger today, that apparently the other male lion actually had the worst side of it all. And unfortunately, the other male lion was actually found dead. So it seems like the Birmingham boys are here to stay, doing a very good job at defending his territory, his females, and everyone around. Now, updates on the radio are funny, because apparently I think there are 2 of the Birmingham boys on a buffalo. Maybe I don't know if it's a buffalo, but they are on a kill somewhere on Torchwood, I want to say, not too far from here. So I wonder if this one is actually at some point going to go join them. Oh, there's a little bit of blood there. Perhaps you should... Do you have a little bit of blood on your leg now? That wasn't there before, was it? Maybe he's reopened his wound. Huh. I wonder what just happened. Maybe actually by cleaning his wound, he's actually made it a little bit worse, because it seems like it's all around there. But like I said, I don't think it's anything to be too worried about. Maybe if we can just... We'll just hang around a little bit more, see if maybe he's got something on his lips. Yeah, he's got some blood there that I'm pretty sure wasn't there before. Oh, thank you for opening that up. Now, if you can just move your head a little bit so we can have a look, that would be very kind of you. Oh, the gash there on the other leg. Okay. Hadn't seen that one before. Well, that one looks a little bit more serious than the other one, but I also still don't think that this is too bad, judging by this angle. But we'll see. Oh boy, now you've put a lot more blood. Okay, perhaps he does have a bigger injury, because now that you've raised your head like that, you've put a lot more blood on your head. He does look like a fierce warrior now, doesn't he? Sure. I feel a little bit sorry for you now with all this blood, but I would like it if you stood up so that we could assess your wounds. Hello, boy. And yes, like I was saying earlier, some more of the updates on the radio is that the Nkahumas are on Buffelshoek after a little bit of an absence, so hopefully they'll come to us tomorrow. Oh, sorry, somebody's calling Taylor, but they actually mean Ali. Standing by. It's not too far from the Buffelshoek cut line, so you'll see it's a prominent 2-track and there's a quarry branch on the road. Alright, sorry, just trying to direct somebody onto the sighting. I think we're all quite interested in trying to see where all of this blood is coming from, because I think he might have another wound somewhere in there, because the gash at the bottom didn't seem the one that was bleeding all that much. But perhaps what he did was actually, when he stretched his leg, that puncture wound that he's got there, that's what he put on his face, and because of the stretching and so on, because it hasn't scabbed yet, maybe that's where the blood came from. Boy, you see, you should stay around here. Less lions to fight around this area. Elizabeth, you're wondering if we ever intervene when animals are hurt. Well, different parks and reserves have different policies, but in the Sabi Sand, if it's something that's caused by another animal, if it's a natural issue, then we do not intervene. The reserve doesn't do anything rather than let the nature take its own course. So for example, for an injury like this, we would not intervene, because sometimes it's also putting the animal under a lot of stress, because a lot of the times you have to dart them and then re-dart them, and they become very skittish and they don't like the vehicles. And also, if I've learned something by watching particularly lions in the last few years, is that they're very resilient animals, and sometimes we get really scared because there's a lot of blood and we're really worried, but they just have a way of pulling through. They're very strong creatures, and I think that's probably where the name the King of the Jungle really does apply to them. So unless it's a human caused problem, like for example a snare around somebody's foot or neck or ankle, you are looking like a proper warrior now. Look at that. Then no, we do not intervene. This is a natural environment, and that's part of the beauty and the horrible part of it. We let nature take its course, and we let animals sort themselves out. For a moment there, I thought he was biting his own tail. Oh, he is pulling his tail. That is quite funny. Also getting the tail very clean. Oh, this is quite funny. A lion pulling its whole tail. Alrighty. Very beautiful. So he has been cleaning himself quite a bit, so I wonder if perhaps he didn't move around and that's why there is a lot of more blood. But if you've got any questions or any comments, we actually love hearing from everyone who's watching. So if you want to send us a tweet using the hashtag #SafariLive or on the YouTube channel, we are more than happy to hear from you and address any possible questions that you may have. Like I said, we've been sitting with this male lion, which has been quite fantastic in the sense that his head is up and he's moving a little bit around and he's allowing us to see what's going on. Because often lions will sleep throughout the day, and if he were lying on the side, it would be quite difficult to actually see any of these wounds. And of course, we don't want to get that close, because then we would bother it and likely he would go away and start moving. But I think the fact that he's got his head up and that he's cleaning and grooming himself so thoroughly could be that maybe he wants to move. Jared Berry, you're wondering what we would do with the dead lion and if there's any information that gets taken from it. Yes, so whenever there's a dead lion that's found, it is reported to the conservation officers of the reserve, and then they are responsible for doing a post-mortem exam of the animal. Often they will also take the animal parts because, or to try and avoid any possible theft of animal parts. Lion bones in particular, lion skins, the same as leopards and some other parts of some other animals, are very prized in black market. So it's a way of trying to avoid the temptation of leaving the skull of a lion here and somebody else coming and eating it or taking it or selling it or whatever the case. But the first step would be, like I said, they would do a full post-mortem exam to try and find out if it died from natural causes, blood loss, etc., just to rule out any possible diseases or anything that might be harmful for the environment, or perhaps other lions that might be living in the area. Are you going to get up, boy? I think you might just get up. The weather is good. Oh. Or are you... What are you doing? Are you getting up? Are you going down? Are you scratching? I think Tinyo hasn't quite decided what he wants to do. Perhaps he's just going to scratch for a little while. We are going to stick around with him just in case he does decide to move, because often they will go down and carry on sleeping. But while I do that, let's go to Jamie, who's got some tiny little bit lions. Well, he is doing fine, and he was actually just about to start roaring, so I'm hoping he's going to do it again, because it was quite unexpected. But I think he is trying to get hold of the other lions that might be not too far from here. Because as far as I understand it, some of them are in Torchwood, some of them are around. So I'm sure some of them will be able to hear him, and perhaps he's just trying to get hold of them. So I am hoping you're going to start roaring again, boy. fighting off the usual flies around. No? No more roaring? I think we've got to give him a chance to fight off all the annoying flies. Now, I was asking Senzo. He was walking just fine this morning, so I don't think it's probably not too much to worry about, because when he got up, he was looking a little bit stiff, so I wonder if he was actually not... if he's not just actually stiff from sleeping the whole day rather than actually hurt. Because from what I understand, he walked quite a distance this morning. I think that this was a good idea to try and get to see him before he started walking. Before he got up and started moving around. I didn't do it. You're wondering if there are any diseases that affect lions psychologically, like distemper, where rabies affects lions. It's one of the diseases that affects lions quite a bit. And then, well, there are all, I'm not too sure about it from a psychological perspective, but there are all sorts of other diseases that affect them. Sorry guys, one of the guys on the radio is trying to get a hold of me, and he's been trying to get into the sighting, but I don't know how he missed us. So I'm gonna switch on for you. So he is actually quite lost, and we saw him perfectly well, but him and all his guests missed us, so I'm just turning on the car so that he can hear us. But now I'm gonna turn it off because he's roaring. Negative. On the eastern side of the Chitwa, if you come from Hyena Road, you passed my vehicle not too long ago. Better than a vehicle and me talking is a lion roaring to try and get people here. Thank you, Tinyo. That was very kind of you. Ralph, did you get the Angama audio? Well, that was quite impressive. He might be hurt, but he is very, very, very proud of making it well known to everyone that he's around here. He has gone back down, so I think maybe we're going to spend a little bit more time with him just to make sure if he stays around or if he roars again, because I strongly believe that there's nothing like the sound of a lion roaring, which is quite amazing. But while I do that, I think Jamie still, with those tiny little cubs, are up to a lot of nonsense. So let's go over to her and have a look.
So while Ali assists whoever it is that would like to find her male lion and share that sighting with her, we've got these two starting to get up and moving about. A little male there wandering towards one of the lionesses. Oh, flop. After all that, that was just far too much effort for the day. I think the lioness agrees as well. How innately cat-like is that? Playful, paws in the air. From a pillow to a chew toy. I would say that around about this age, he'd still be getting his teeth, his permanent teeth, and that process will continue for another couple of months. And a warm welcome to Jared's buddy while we watch this one cub entertain himself for now with a branch. You want to know how far the cubs will stray from each other. It is interesting to watch, and something that I've really enjoyed about these nighttime safaris when we've spent time, especially with the Angama cubs, to learn a little bit about the way that they interact with each other. It very much depends upon... one's come to the other end now. It very much depends upon the ages of the cubs and the situation that they're in. So I've often seen older cubs wander off with the adults, and the younger cubs instinctively know to stay behind because that's my stick. Come on, stick's big enough for both of you. The younger ones instinctively know to stay close to their den site in those first few weeks that they're exploring and going out and about. And then as they get older, they'll spend more and more time sort of following behind the adults and learning a little bit about hunting. But I've noticed when the adults leave them, when the adults actually manage to ditch them all in one go, the cubs tend to curl up all together at night. And that's actually really very valuable for the younger cubs to have older cubs present, because the older ones have slightly more experience, they're slightly more alert, and you'll see that when hyenas, in the times that I've seen hyenas approach the lion cubs while the parents are away, it's the older ones that pick up on the hyenas first, and they get up and run, and then the little ones instinctively follow them. So that bond is actually really quite useful. And it pays. If you're a younger cub, admittedly, you'll probably get bullied and pushed around a little bit. Oh, look at those claws coming out. There's a brief stretch there, extending them from their sheath, his sheath. You can just see the one there. So although the little cubs have to really push and fight for their place at a carcass, and they often get knocked over and bowled over, it still pays to have older cousins around you when night falls and the lionesses have to go out hunting. I mean, the lionesses will leave their cubs for hours at a time when they have to go and find food, and they'll often cover several miles in doing so. Hey girl, you contemplating a long hard night ahead? I wonder what your plans are. Not hungry. They've eaten since the last time I saw them. No, that's absolute nonsense. The last time I saw them, they were full. That was yesterday morning, Dave. Time flies. So while our lions content themselves in various poses, some peaceful, some playful, let's go across to Tinyo, who I think after his fight is giving himself a good clean.
Yes, now he is, I believe he's done with the roaring. He just let everyone know that he's here, and how amazing was that to hear him roaring throughout the day. I just love it. It's one of the most incredible sounds in here, and lucky today, on a very cold day like today, the sound is probably going to travel further away. So he is making it very well known that even if he's hurt and perhaps not looking at his more regal point, he's still a warrior and he's still here, ready to fight anyone that might dare come onto his territory. Now it seems like he's also got a bit of a gash on his lip, on the left-hand side of his lip. There we go. So another bit of an extra wound. So I'm sure whatever fight these guys had, it must have been quite a vicious one, as it is normally with male lions fighting. It's never a pleasant affair to find more than one coalition of males with another one, because normally it's a fight to the death, or it can get quite gruesome. Now, I think he might have another wound underneath one of his legs, just by judging by the amount of blood, but I'm sure he'll be fine. Macy, you're wondering if a male lion's roar is louder, than the one of a female. Yes, you can tell. It takes a little bit of getting used to hear the difference between a male and a female roaring, but after a while you can pick up, because it's the male's roar has got more I want to say more strength into it. I don't know how to put it into words. It's more guttural. It's more, you can feel that it comes from deeper in, and whereas the females also roar, and it's a sound to be very scared of, it's not as loud as the one of the males. Because the females, yes, they also roar to advertise their territory, but I think there's a bit more pride in the males to when they roar, just because they are advertising their presence to all of the other male lions, and they are not scared of fighting. But it was so unexpected to hear him roar. That was, I think, my favorite surprise for the afternoon. That was great. And now he's gone back down. So I'm gonna stick around just a little bit longer, just to see if perhaps he does roar again. Otherwise, we might try our luck with Chitwa later on, because I haven't met Chitwa yet, and I would definitely love to see her. And I know Taylor would also like to see him, so maybe we'll do this one for her as well. While we wait for this beautiful boy to finish grooming. I think maybe that's going to be our cue. Once he finishes grooming, we'll find out what he wants to do, if he wants to start moving around, or if he actually just wants to roar again, which is what I'm hoping for, or perhaps he'll just go back to sleep. PG, you're wondering if a lion would roar even when it's injured. Yep, well, he is injured, and he... Sorry, BG, I think I got the question wrong. You're wondering if lions are afraid to fight. Is that correct, Lou? Sorry, you're breaking up a little bit, so I can't hear everything. Alright, sorry PG, third time's the charm. Would he refrain from a fight while he's injured? Likely, yes, likely he'll try to avoid other male lions because he is still injured and obviously he wants to get better. Or perhaps finding his brothers would also be good because, as we all know, there's safety in number, even for lions. So part of the roaring could also be that he wants to try and find out where the rest of his coalition is, where the other ones are, and probably throughout the night, or hopefully throughout the night, they'll meet up again and they'll find each other. So they will become a little bit quieter while they are injured, especially if they have a really bad injury, because roaring also gives your position away. So if you are around and there are other younger, stronger male lions that want to try and push you away, sometimes they will just go straight onto where they heard that roar to provoke a fight. In this case, I think he knows what the outcome of that fight was, and it's that the other two males that came from the Kruger side, I think, well, one of them died and the other one, I think, ran away. So he's also reasserting his territory and his dominance, and it's probably why he's not afraid to roar. Oh, hello, boy. So he is looking a little bit stiff. But that could also be from sleeping around the whole day. And you're still scratching. Imagine the power of those claws. Maybe you've got a hairball. You've been doing a lot of grooming. So I am just trying to wishfully think him to roar again, just because it's such a wonderful sound. And when he roared earlier on, this is pretty much what he did. So I feel like if I talk, I might interrupt him. Oh, look, he's... Yes! Well, that was amazing. Oof, that was really, really good. And to have it roaring straight at us, there is no feeling quite like it. Now he's walking just fine. Like I said, I do think, judging by when he walks, just by the blood that's underneath, that he might have another wound somewhere there, and he's got a little bit of a limp. But I think it's nothing to be too concerned about. I think part of it is probably because it's a cold day and he's a little bit stiff. So I think maybe that's why he's walking that way. Now he's heading straight east in this direction. So if he carries on going along that side, he's going to hit the boundary and perhaps carry on and cross over to where the other ones are reported to be. So let's follow him around and see what he does. Here comes the bundu bashing. Cheryl, you're wondering if any of the other boys have roared back yet. No, not that I've heard. I think two of them are probably going to be somewhat quiet because they've got a kill and I'm sure they don't want to share it. I don't know which way I'm going to go around here. But we haven't heard them yet. So hopefully in the next little while, some of them might roar back because the Nkuhumas, I believe, are also not too far away. So the Nkuhuma girls could also start roaring back. Thank goodness for these tiny Land Rovers that allow us to get everywhere. Alright. He is, however, still scent marking, so I think this whole show that he's putting on us is just to remind everyone of who actually the boss is. Now, I'm trying to find the most open way out. Hopefully, I think this way actually, because it's gonna get tricky if we follow that game path where he's walking. I hope this doesn't backfire. Alright. Seems like this was actually an old 2-track. Woohoo! So you see in front of us, he's rubbing his head against bushes, he's putting his tail up, he's scent marking, so he is doing his full territorial display. Sorry about the impromptu stopping. I just wanted you guys to be able to have a look at this. So normally when lions mark their territory, that's exactly what they do. They'll put up their head and start rubbing their heads against the bushes because they've got some scent glands on their faces. And they'll use them to just leave their scent over here. And then of course they turn around and they urine spray on bushes and everything else. So roaring, face marking, if we can call it like that, which is also scent marking, and then urine spray. The typical things that a male lion does to advertise its territory. Now, this is getting a little bit complicated in here. Ooh. Bug Marker, you say that we are the luckiest people in the world to be here with these magnificent creatures. I fully agree with you. I think I'm grateful every day. Woo, there's a big hole. Well, first of all, for not dying into a hole, but also to be able to spend as much time as we do with these animals and just hearing them roar live and being able to share it with everyone. It's pretty much an indescribable feeling. Now, Ralph, if you go around, I can't carry on forward. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to find another way in. Although this one doesn't seem too bad. What do you say, Senza? Should we risk it? Alright, let's try this out. Alright. We shall carry on trying to battle the bushes and do bashing and see if perhaps we can get another view of this boy, because he is walking in quite a complicated spot. Whew. I'm hoping we're not gonna die. Woohoo! Well done, Rusty. Now, all I've got to do is try and find out how to get through here, but while I figure this out in this gigantic puzzle, let's go over to Jamie and the beautiful, beautiful Angamas. He is quickly missioning. We have gonna cross around and come onto the road. I'm sure he's gonna pop onto the road in the next few seconds or so, just because wherever he was going, there he comes, we couldn't follow. And like I said, we're not too far away from the boundary, and he's heading straight for it. So I think he might be heading on to either where the Nkuhumas are, or where the other 2 male lions were. Ralph, he's here. He's just crossing the fire break now. Sorry guys, I had to keep the guys updated as to where he goes and what he's doing. Funny enough, the only reason that I knew how to go ahead of him and find a new way is because we had an Mvula sighting not too far from where he's been walking. So good knowledge of the area definitely was helpful to try and avoid as many things as we could. So I'm gonna try. Yes, I'm gonna try and get in front of him just as he goes onto. Just so that we can have one last look at him as he comes, because he's definitely gonna cross this road and then he's going to be lost to us, at least, because we won't be able to follow him any further. All right, Senzo, there's your money shot. Woohoo! You are such a stunning boy, aren't you? My head. As you can see, he's quite close to us, and I'm just trying to get my head out of the shot. And off he goes. He's just crossing onto Buffelshoek now. Beautiful. Now, I know this means nothing to the animals, but he's just crossed one of our boundaries, so unfortunately where he's gone, oh my goodness, are you gonna sleep there? Where he's gone, we cannot follow, or we cannot try and get a closer look of him. He's just gone static north of the Buffelshoek cut line. 3 vehicles here. Alright, how was that? That was fairly amazing, and I think maybe with that we should thank Tinyo for such a spectacular performance that he's put on today, and very likely just move off so we can give other people a chance to have a better view, because I think we've been very, very lucky. I just don't want to carry on moving while everybody else moves. So we're gonna wait for some of the cars to stop moving and then we're gonna head off. But I think this was such a wonderful view of him. I'm definitely super happy that he also roared, because that is probably the best thing that lions do, is when they roar. Let me go. This is Bobby. You say, have a safe trip, Mr. Lion. I think maybe we should say now as well, have a nice news, because likely that's what he's gonna do. Carry on sleeping. Are you done now? Beautiful. Right, guys, I think we should be very thankful of what we've just seen, and I think the other males are further into Buffelshoek, so I think it's our time to say goodbye to this beautiful Tinyo and perhaps carry on, see if we can, or at least I can make a new acquaintance and meet the beautiful Kuchama. So we'll carry on, see what else we can find along the way, but not a bad time to spend our afternoon, especially on a rainy day like today. I think it was very, very good. And also, of course, we'll give the chance to somebody else to come, because now that he's moved into the open, there are a few more people that want to come and have a look. So, we shall leave this beautiful boy. He's gone back to grooming. Just making sure he's very clean. And what a wonderful afternoon. Thank you.